Most men never find out why she went quiet. They replay the last conversation, looking for the mistake, the wrong word, the moment they pushed too hard or not hard enough, and they come up empty. But here is what the research is starting to confirm, and what most relationship advice will never tell you directly. Her silence is not absence, it is information. And if you learn to read it correctly, it becomes one of the most powerful signals a woman can send you. Today, I want to walk you through 5 things that are actually happening when a mature woman pulls away, and number 3 is the one that changes how you see everything. Stay with me, because there is also something most men have been doing, quietly and consistently, that has been working against them without a single warning. Here is what I want you to hear me out on first. If you have been showing up consistently, treating her well, saying the right things, and still watching her drift, you are not doing it wrong because you are not enough. You are doing it wrong because nobody ever told you what enough actually means to a woman who has already been through the version of love that looked good on the surface and left her emptier than before. The man who takes her to dinner and texts her good morning and tells her she is beautiful, she has had that man more than once, and she smiled politely and felt nothing move inside her. That is not a criticism of you. That is a window into a layer of connection that most men never know exists. And the fact that you are still here, still trying to understand rather than just walk away frustrated, that already puts you somewhere different. Dr. Sue Johnson, founder of Emotionally Focused Therapy and researcher at the University of Ottawa, found that the primary driver of adult romantic bonding is not attraction, not shared interests, and not even communication style. It is the felt sense of emotional safety. In her clinical research, partners who reported feeling truly secure with each other showed measurably higher oxytocin levels, lower cortisol responses during conflict, and significantly stronger long-term relationship satisfaction than those relying on affection and effort alone. What that means in plain language is this: she is not waiting to feel impressed. She is waiting, often without knowing it consciously, to feel safe enough to stop bracing. Now let me tell you exactly who I am talking about, because this matters. She is in her late 30s, her 40s, maybe her early 50s. She has built a life, a real one. A career she earned, a home she maintains, a sense of self she had to reconstruct after a marriage that ended, or a long relationship that slowly turned into loneliness with company. She is not fragile. She is not confused. She is guarded, and she has every reason to be. She has learned that warmth from a man is easy to perform and hard to sustain. So when you show up, she is not asking herself whether she likes you. She is asking herself whether she can afford to. Picture the moment you thought she was interested, the way she lingered, the way she laughed a little longer than necessary, and then she stepped back. You probably thought you had done something wrong. What you missed is that she was testing the temperature of the water, and she needed to see what you would do next. The first thing to understand is what I call regulated presence. Not just being physically there. Anyone can sit across from a woman, but being emotionally regulated, calm, and unhurried in a way that her nervous system can actually feel. Neuroscientists studying polyvagal theory, particularly the work of Dr. Stephen Porges, have found that the human autonomic nervous system is constantly scanning the environment for cues of safety and threat. This process, which Porges named neuroception, happens entirely below conscious awareness. What that means for you is that she is not deciding to trust you. Her body is deciding before her mind catches up. A mature woman who has spent years being the strong one, the responsible one, the one who holds everything together for everyone else. Her nervous system has been in a low-grade state of vigilance for a very long time. When you arrive anxious, when you push for reassurance, when you need her to signal that things are okay, her system reads that as one more thing to manage. But when you are steady, when you are genuinely calm in her presence without needing anything from her in that moment, something in her begins to exhale. That exhale is the beginning of everything. And here's what I want you to remember as we go deeper. Presence like that cannot be performed. She will feel the difference between a man who has practiced stillness and a man who actually lives there. There is something I heard recently that I have not been able to stop thinking about. A woman, late 40s, talking about why she finally let herself fall for someone after years of keeping men at a careful distance, said, "I did not fall for him because he pursued me. I fell for him because he never made me feel like a project. He was just there, steady, like he had nowhere better to be." That kind of testimony does not come from a fairy tale. That comes from a woman who has been disappointed enough times to know exactly what she was finally feeling for the first time. The second element is what I call chosen attention, and it is different from flattery in a way that a mature woman will identify immediately. Flattery is broadcast. Chosen attention is specific. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for trust and long-term valuation, responds differently to generic praise than it does to precise, accurate observation. When you tell a woman she is beautiful, her brain processes that as social behavior. When you notice the specific way she deflects a compliment, or the way her voice changes when she talks about something she actually loves, her brain registers that as evidence of being truly seen. For a woman who has spent years performing competence and confidence for the world, being accurately seen, not idealized, but genuinely witnessed, is an experience that lands somewhere deep and quiet. Use this with care, because a mature woman will sense immediately if your observation is a strategy rather than genuine attention. The warning here is simple. If you are noticing her in order to impress her, it will not work. Notice her because you are actually curious about who she is beneath the version she shows everyone else. That distinction is everything. The third element, and the one I told you to stay with me for, is what I call earned silence, the ability to be quiet with her in a way that communicates safety rather than distance. Most men fill silence because silence feels like failure, but for a mature woman who is evaluating whether you are someone she can actually rest around, your comfort with silence is data. It tells her that you do not need her to perform, that you do not need to fill every moment with proof that things are going well. Dr. John Gottman of the Gottman Institute at the University of Washington found in his longitudinal research on couples that bids for connection, small, quiet, often nonverbal moments where one partner reaches toward the other, predicted relationship success more reliably than grand gestures, communication skills, or compatibility metrics. A woman who has been holding everything together for years, who has not let herself be soft with someone in longer than she wants to admit, is not looking for a speech. She's looking for a man who can sit beside her, without urgency, and make the world feel smaller and quieter and safer than it did before he arrived. That is the moment she stops pulling away, not because she decided to, because her whole body stopped bracing. The fourth element is deliberate unhurriedness, the conscious choice to move at a pace that says, "I am not going anywhere, so you do not have to decide right now." A mature woman's relationship timeline is not the same as a younger woman's. She has more history, more scar tissue, more evidence that rushing leads to wreckage. When a man pushes for answers, for definition, for confirmation that she feels what he feels, she reads that as emotional fragility dressed up as desire. But when you move slowly, not out of disinterest, but out of genuine steadiness, she begins to understand that you are someone who can hold the uncertainty without collapsing into it. That quality, that quiet strength, is rarer than you know. And a self-sufficient woman, a woman who has been her own anchor for years, recognizes it immediately when she finally sees it. None of what I have shared with you today requires money, status, a better body, or a younger face. It requires awareness. It requires presence. It requires the kind of intentional, unhurried attention that most men have never been taught to offer, because nobody ever told them it was the language she was waiting to hear. The man who learns this does not chase. He becomes the man she chooses, deliberately, repeatedly, with relief. There is one more piece to this, and it is the part that explains why some men get everything right and still lose her at the last moment. That is exactly what the next video covers, and I promise you, walking away now means stopping one step before the thing that finally makes all of this click into place.